Welcome, yogis. I'm glad you could make it and join me in this class today. So today's class, we're going to work a little bit with the feet, a little bit of foot massage and opening up the toes. And we'll work up into our legs by using a strap. So you will need a strap. You will need a cushion. I'm sitting up on a cushion, so please come sit up on a cushion, and a blanket if you'd like to pad your knees. So this class, we're going to use the strap to open up the inside and the out, the inner and the outer legs, and start to mobilize our hips. And then once we're done that, we'll come and do a few standing poses just to see what it's like to stand on our whole foot and to feel really the power and the energy that a warrior, we're going to do a warrior two in particular, and to see the changes that hopefully you've made in your body, and to just recognize and visualize how your body is moving in that pose. And so I hope you enjoy this. So what we're going to do is just start in Tadasana, or a long-legged butterfly. So you just bring your feet out in front of you, maybe about 2 feet, so you have a nice big long diamond shape. And all we're going to do is just lean forward. You just grab your toes for a moment and just sort of rock from side to side. Just getting a little bit of movement in the body, and feeling into the low back, feeling into the hips. From there, you can just thumb walk your thumb up and down your soles of your feet, maybe starting on the inside and then in the center, all the way, just feeling the feet, and then the outside of your foot, or the part that's closest to the floor. Let's give them a little bit of a rub to begin with. We'll work into them a little bit more in a bit. Just while we're down here, we'll just give them a little bit of a rub. And just continuing to rock from side to side. And then just start palm walking your hands up your legs, and give your ankles a little bit of a roll, and your calves. Stretch out your legs, give them a little bit of a rub. And just up and down, sort of whatever you're feeling like. You can place your feet back together again, and we'll just sort of give them a little slap or a little pound on the inside, waking up all the meridian lines, your liver and kidney and spleen lines are up the center lines, and stretch out your legs. And we'll go down the outside, which is part of your gallbladder. It's all the way down to your ankles, back up. And maybe you'd like to come around, and a little bit of pounding at the top of your hips and your low back into your kidney line. And so then from there, let's just stretch out one leg. It doesn't matter which one you start. We're going to do both feet. So to take the other foot, just rest it up on top of your knee. And what we're going to do is we're going to start opening up the toes. And a simple way to just get started, just take your pointer finger and go between each toe a few times to start opening them up, starting to relax the muscles and the fibers between. A few times. If you got lots of time, you could certainly spend a little bit more time doing this. And then let's just grab your toes, separating it from your big toe, and just start opening up the the sort of the webbing between each toe so a few times. So grabbing your big toe, not a real hard stretch, of course, just very gentle. And then grab the second toe and open it up a little bit from the third toe. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I think it's pretty explanatory. And then move on to the next and grabbing. So you're got opening up the space between your third and your fourth toe, and then the fourth and the fifth. This nice, gentle opening. And then once we got our toes open, we're going to try and interlace our fingers between each toe. So just go to your comfort level, of course. If your fingers and your toes aren't, or if your toes aren't opening up today, just grab the edges of them. That's fine. And but let's get those fingers back interlaced between your toes. And let's just sort of just press them forward, draw them back. We're starting to work into all those bones and or all the bones in the feet, and let your ankle roll with it. So bring your ankle forward, bring it back. You know, a lot of this is just intuitive on how your foot is feeling. And then we would just give it a little bit of a turn so that your heel is pointing up at you, and then take your whole foot so your heel is pointing towards the ground a little bit more. So just rolling the ankle the other direction. At the same time, where our fingers are interlaced between our toes, opening up the toes while we're working into the ankle. A nice thing to do too is if you just twist the front of the foot and grab the heel and just give it a, you know, it's just sort of a counter pose to the other way, and then turn it that way. And then let's do some ankle rolls. 5 or 6 one way, 5 or 6 the other way. And then let's pull out the fingers from the toes. Just give the feet a little bit of slap to wake up all the energy, wake up all those little nerve endings. And then hang on to your foot with your hand on the top of the foot, and you can just give a little bit of a pound. This again, waking up. We have all those little pressure points and acupressure points in our feet, and doing something like this just helps to wake things up and gets the energy moving, and just give your foot a little massage to finish up. Okay, so let's do that on the other foot. So first off, we're going to just take our finger and run it through your pointer finger, run it through the spaces between your toes. Each one a few times, seeing how they feel. Start preparing them for a little bit more work. We try to put our fingers between. And then the last one. And then grabbing your big toe and grabbing the rest of your toes. Just try and spread them out a little bit, a few times. And it's not a big movement. We're just trying to open them up, lubricate the joints, and moving on to the next one. So you're between your second and your third toe, and your third and your fourth is open. And the last one, fourth and the fifth toe. Open up, prepare them. Okay, let's see if we can slip our fingers in between each toe. And some of you may be able to get your fingers in a longer way, some not at all. Of course, this is your practice, this is your foot. So let's, just do whatever you can with them. And then just tipping your toes forward, drawing them back, and for just a few times. And then let's start doing a little bit of a twist with the foot. So we're starting to mobilize the ankle a little bit. So your heel will bring up towards you, and then your heel towards the floor and up. A little bit of a twist. And then if you'd like, you can try that. Just counter pose with twisting your foot, your top of your ball of your foot one way, and your heel maybe just draw it gently the other way, and other direction. And then let's start mobilizing the ankle and rotate them the other way. And let's pull out the fingers. Let's do a little bit of a slap. And hang on to your top of your foot with the one hand and just get a little bit of a pound, waking up all those little nerve endings, all those little meridian points. A lot of our meridian points start and end in our feet. So we're starting to work those. And let's just get a little bit of a massage to work it out. Okay. All right. So let's come to lie down on our backs and slip the cushion out of the way for now and grab your strap. And we'll start with the come to lie on your back, feet on the floor, knees bent. First off, just notice how the bottoms of your feet feel after that little bit of work that we did with waking up the feet. Hopefully you feel a little bit of a tingling and feeling in your feet and working up that energy. So let's grab our strap now, start working it to the leg. So we'll start with the right foot. So take your strap, have it open, place, and the other foot can just your other leg, just leave the knee bent and your foot flat on the floor for now. We will have to straighten it, but we'll do that. So place the strap around the ball of your foot and maybe just start drawing the leg a little bit more towards straight. You're straight, maybe your leg is down further, but it's your flexibility, your movement. And just start pressing the toe up towards the ceiling. Again, we're mobilizing that ankle. And just a few times. And then slide the strap onto the heel. And now it is a little bit different movement. Draw that hip, draw your femur bone right down in towards your hip joint. Use the strap a little bit to guide yourself, but mainly you're just drawing it back in, so really plugging it into the socket. Now take the strap to the top of the foot again, to the ball of the foot, and then point your toe now and feel how it's very different motion. You're feeling it more maybe in the muscular, in your thigh muscles, the back of your thigh, maybe the front of your thigh, your calf muscles. Feel how that was very different than drawing the femur into the hip joint. And so for there, let's just start mobilizing the hips. So stretch out your bent leg and take the straps into your right hand and just let your leg drop over to the right, any amount. Exhale back or inhale back to center and then drop it to the other side. Let your body roll with it. Inhale back to center. Open to the right. Inhale back to center. Switching the cross of your hands will help your leg drop over to the side. Inhale back to center. And switch across your hands. Open up to the right. Inhale, center, and over to the left. Inhale, back to center, release the strap, and just stretch your leg out for a moment. And just see if you notice, see if you can feel maybe your one leg, your right leg is feeling particularly different than the other one. It feels maybe a little bit longer. Your muscles are, starting to stretch out and relax and release. That causes that little bit of difference. So let's bend both knees, place the feet on the floor, and let's work into the other leg. So placing your strap around the ball of your left foot. Your right knee can still be bent. And start pressing your toe up towards the ceiling. And starting to mobilize that foot. And work the ankle. Draw the strap towards your heel and take that motion, drawing your femur bone into the hip socket. Very small movement, but it can be very powerful. And we learn that movement when we stand and do our poses. Take the strap again up to the ball, the foot, and once again, you're flexing your foot so your toes pointed towards the ceiling, and feel the difference in the musculature of your leg. Okay, so let's start mobilizing the hip on that side. So stretch out your right leg, take the straps, grab the straps with your left hand. And you can I always like stretching out my right arm along the floor and let that left leg drop over to the left. Inhale back to center. Switch across your hands, rolling with your foot over to the right. Inhale, center. Switching across. Roll yourself over. You can always just leave your hand on your thigh too, on your right thigh. You come up. I like having it stretched out. Let's just do one more either side. And back to the right. Inhale back to center, release the strap, set it down for a moment, and just take a rest in constructive rest, bend your knees. Actually, first maybe we'll stretch our legs out and just see if hopefully our legs feel like they're the same length now, and just feel that we've had a chance to do that with both legs. So see if we can feel that we're a little bit more balanced. So, and then we'll bend our knees and place our feet on the floor. And again, feeling the bottoms of your feet. And a lot of that was with the beginning of our session with just starting to massage and work into the base of our feet. So now let's extend on that thing. Let's work a little bit more with the legs. So place the strap again around the ball of your foot. We'll start with the right foot. Around the ball of your right foot, interlace. Grab the strap good so that you can release. And then as you're pressing up with your toes, I want you to imagine that you're really lengthening the inner leg. So you're lengthening the inner leg and you're hugging in on the outer leg of that, the right leg, like you're plugging in. So you're doing both motions at the same time. So you're lengthening on the inner, hugging in on the outer. And let's take the straps into the right hand. Let that leg drop over to the right and feel that same motion. You're lengthening on the inner, hugging in on the outer. And you can take your left hand, just place it on your left top of your left hip. Inhale, back to center. Let it release over to the left. Switch across your hands. Let your right arm stretch out along the floor. And also in the same motion, lengthen on the inner leg, hugging in on the outer. And these are the motions when we're doing our pose. It's like a union of opposites. You're lengthening, you're hugging in, you're grounding, you're rising. It's a union of opposites. That's your yoga, doing two things. Once again, let it drop over to the right side. Lengthen on the inner, hugging in on the outer. Inhale, back to center. One more time, over towards the left. And this time, stretching out your arm out about shoulder height or just bending your elbow, use cactus arms. Same motion, lengthen and hug in. At the same time, I want you to stretch out through your left leg. So we're not letting that leg drop off the mat. We're lengthening at the same time with the left. Bring your leg back to center. Release the strap. Let your leg release. Take a moment of pause. And then let's do the other leg. So place the strap around the ball of your foot. Yes, I always like just looping the straps around my hand once or twice, just so I feel comfortable. You want your shoulders and your elbows released down. And same motion. So as you're pointing up your toes, as you're pointing your toes towards the ceiling, you want to lengthen the inner, hugging in on the outer. Plug that femur in. Draw it back in. Very small movement. Okay, let's grab the straps into the left hand. Let that left leg drop over to the left. Same thing. Lengthen on the inner leg, hug in on the outer. Inhale back to center. Switch across your hands. Let the leg drop over to the right. Lengthen and hug in. Inhale back to center. One more time to the left. Inner lengthens, outer hugs in. Make sure that right leg is staying relaxed on the floor. It's always nice to place your right hand just on top of the hip. And one more time over to the left. This time, lengthen and hug in. The same time, stretching out through that bottom leg, stretching out through the right leg. Long, nice, full expression of the pose. And then let's come back to center, release the strap. We're done with that now. And placing both feet on the floor again to see what it feels like. Walk up the feet, walk up the legs, the hips, and let's work with that a little bit. So let's start moving up into a bridge. So just start lifting the hips up off the floor, pressing into your feet. Maybe come up halfway to begin with. And sort of gradually work ourselves up. Inhale, lifting up. Always as you lower from the top to the bottom. And then when you're coming up, you engage the core, engage your glutes, and then pressing into your feet to lift up. Let's roll it down one more time. And this time, let's see if we can come up all the way, your bridge, pressing into the feet, and then press into the feet. Something else has to lift. If you like, you can roll your shoulders in towards each other, interlace your hands underneath you to get a little bit more of a lift, pressing into the feet. Keep engaging the inner thighs, glute muscles, bottoms of your feet. And then let's release your shoulders, release the clasp of your hands, and start lowering down from the top to the bottom. Good job. Let's just draw our knees in towards our chest to release our back, and just get a little bit different motion or our counter move to our bridge. Okay, so let's roll it over. Using both hands to press yourself up to seated, and then just gradually take yourself up, just slowly. Always take your time when you come from lying down to standing up. So let's from here. First off, let's just notice how it feels to stand, and how it's very different from even from where our feet were on the floor with our knees bent. The standing pose. And then let's just start doing a little bit of shaking. Releasing it all out. Start to get the energy moving while we're standing up. Let the shoulders release, let the wrists and hands, let your heels thump into the earth. And then stop and just feel it's called chi, or your prana, just moving through your body. Okay, so let's take it into a warrior two. So separate your feet out nice and wide, and let's turn the left toes towards the front of the mat and angle your right toes in slightly. Make sure you're grounded on that whole foot. Now that we've opened up those foot joints and all your toes, you should feel a nice solid base on your foot, always making sure your back foot is firmly grounded. And let's just start taking a few little bends into our front knee. Once again, remember, we're feeling into that long line on the inside of our legs. At the same time, we're hugging in on the outer. So the same motion as what we were doing when we were lying down. Same motion. So it's that lengthening and the hugging in. Always check your knee to make sure it's tracking over your second and third toe. So now let's lift it up. So let hot air, like a hot air balloon, lifting up your chest and bringing your arms up. So each inhale lifts your ribs up out of your chest, looking out over your left fingertips. Your arms are in line with your shoulders. Nice long line. Again, we're going to lengthen on the inner arms, and we're going to hug in on the outer. It's a long line. You're lifting up, you're drawing in up on your pelvic floor. Is that all? Long lines. Each inhale fills you up. And exhale, releasing. Warriors are poses of strength and courage. I was feeling strong and resilient. And let's just go into reverse warrior. So dropping your right hand down against your right thigh, turning your left palm up, lift that up, lifting the right hand, open up the side body. And then let's lower it back down, releasing, coming back into a warrior two. Lower your hands down and just let your Feet point towards the side. So we're just turning, taking that pause, noticing the difference between one side and the other. So let's do that on the other side. So pointing your right toes towards the edge of your mat and just angling in your left toes a little bit. Ensure that you're grounded, you're firmly planted on your feet. Always start with your base. Always start with our base and make sure we're firm and we're balanced. And let's start taking a little bit of a bend into our right knee. Again, feeling that length on the inner thighs. Hug in each motion or movement that you do, feeling that same thing as what we were doing with the strap. Now let's lift it up. So we're grounding down through our feet. We're firmly planted. Now let's lift it up into a warrior two, lifting the arms up at shoulder height, looking out over your right fingertips. It's long lines again. Lengthen on the inner arms. Hug in on the outer, drawing your, make sure your shoulders are released down away from your ears. Make sure we're grounded, feeling the heel points on the floor, the ball of your foot. Maybe you can lift your toes and stretch them out a little bit more. That could feel a little interesting. And grounding, drawing in on the pelvic floor. So again, we're grounding down, but at the same time, we're lifting that energy up. And let's go into reverse warrior, dropping the left hand down along your left leg, flipping the right hand over, so your palms pointing up, and lift that up. Nice long line along the right side of the body. Exhale back to warrior two. And then let's release, straighten your legs, turn your toes to the front. Take a little bit of a pause. And we'll just balance it off with a little bit of wide-legged forward fold. So place your hands just along on your hips along the outside and let your hands release down along the side of your legs as your head releases towards the floor. Soft bend in your knees. Inhale, flat back as you come up. Exhale, lower. Soft knees. Take your time. Inhale, flat back. And this time we'll stay down. So exhale, releasing down. Let your hands release wherever you like. Maybe you'd like to just interlace your or grab opposite elbows to release, to sway from side to side. Maybe you only come down onto your thighs. That's fine. It's working into the back line of our bodies. Some of you might like to stretch your hands out in front of you for a wide-legged down dog. Again, yogi's choice. Lots of different things you can do when we're in forward fold. Maybe you can bend to one side, straighten one leg, bend the other one. Let's walk your hands back to center if you were in a down dog, or if you're in wide-legged down dog, release your hands. Let your hands slide up your legs again. Come to standing. Take your time. So yoga walk your feet back together. Sometimes it's nice to do another little rebound there. Here, let's just roll it down. Come down onto your hands and knees. We'll do a couple of sunbirds to release and end up in Shavasana. So let's pad your knees. Hands are slightly in front of your shoulders. And we're going to inhale, lifting the chin, lifting the heart. Exhale, rounding the back, tucking the toes this time, and forehead, forearms, and hips towards your heels. Leave your toes tucked. We worked into the toes, so let's see if we can open up the feet a little bit more on our release to the back. So forehead, forearms, and hips towards your heels. Inhale, draws yourself forward. Exhale, rounding, coming back. Forearms, forehead, and hips towards your heels. One more time. And release back. Tuck your toes or untuck your toes and just let your head release to the floor. If your head, of course, doesn't reach the floor, as always, just take a block and tuck it underneath your forehead. It's always nice to have your forehead resting on something. It's a little bit more calming. And release. Resting here in, we call it sukha, good space. Releasing, going back and visualizing what we did. I would open your legs and your feet. And you can stay in that child's pose as long as you like. And I'll leave with our practice today, short little practice. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Namaste.